Hello again, everybody. We're back again today with another video. I'm here with Brian, Massey's Maine Entertainment, and Doc, tackling another movie year, 1992. We're doing a top 10 movie list. We've been doing our movie list since 1980. Check them out in the description below. There's links to each year. If you missed a few, go back and check them out. This is part of a tandem video we're doing on Brian's channel. We're doing the music for the corresponding year of 1992. That'll be released at the same time as this. And we go all the way back to 1965 for those. Check them out. They'll be in the description below. 65 through 92, a perfect album where we pick 12 songs for each particular year and try to make a perfect album, 6 on each side. So that's a fun thing to do. We're getting towards the end of our journey here. We're going up to 1999. That's the finish line as of right now, but things can always change. You never know. Anyway, guys, 1992, this is a pretty solid year for me. Some real all-time favorites on here, maybe one hidden gem, a couple of stalwarts, Academy Award winners, that type of thing. So what did you think overall?
I would say, this is pretty close to a banner year in my eyes, man. I think I've got together what I would consider a very solid top 10 list, and I had another 5 or 6 added on here and scrapped it out to be in the top 10. I think it's very strong, great acting year in my eyes.
Yeah. You, Brian?
Yeah, I agree. I think that this is probably from 1 through 10, maybe the most consistent year we've had.
Yeah.
It feels really consistent that, everything that's in the top 10 belongs in the top 10, and I would have no problem going back to. Yeah,
and there's 4 or 5 on the outskirts just wanting to get in that we could have easily had because it's that strong a year. Of course, we'll do a worst film at the end too, and that's always a pleasure to poke fun at one of the turkeys of the year. So let's get into it. The order tonight is Brian, Doc, and myself. Count them down 10 through 1. Let's do it, Brian.
Okie doke. At number 10, I've got a personal favorite here. It's a horror movie / comedy movie. It's the third part of the Evil Dead series. I've got Army of Darkness, was starring Bruce Campbell. The series only got funnier as it went on. Evil Dead was much, very serious horror movie. Evil Dead 2 got a little funnier, and then Army of Darkness just became this almost like a spoof of the series on itself. And Bruce Campbell's just kind of an hilarious kind of guy.
Over the top, man.
He's way over the top and just an action hero that has no reason, no sense being an action hero whatsoever. It's a great movie though. I enjoy watching it. It's fun to watch. Number 9 for me, I've got Last of the Mohicans here. This is like maybe what's really odd about this, may be like my 9th or 10th favorite Daniel Day-Lewis film, and it's a great movie. I mean, when you start to look at his catalog, it's just fantastic. Based on the novel by James Fenimore Cooper, part of the Leatherstocking Tales. What a great retelling of the story, where Daniel Day-Lewis plays Hawkeye, who is a guide for the Colonials, who is trying to get some safe passage for some women and people who are loyal to the Colonials, trying to get them safely across the terrain, and they're being stalked by people who are looking for some retribution from opposing tribes and stuff. What I thought was really cool about the thing is there was one line from it that kind of just stuck out to me, was when they asked Hawkeye, they go, "How is it that you're going east when everybody else is going west?" He said, "Well, it's really simple." He said, you kind of like travel north and then you turn right real sudden like." And I thought that was just absolutely hilarious. Yeah. And wanted to include that. And number 8 for me, I've got One False Move. This was a movie I had to go back and watch because I didn't remember it from the time that it had come out. Yeah. It's co-written by Billy Bob Thornton, who stars in it alongside Cinda Williams and Bill Paxton. It was directed by Carl Franklin. kind of these series, basically these three individuals all commit these series of murders. I think there was like half a dozen murders they did just for the money and the drugs, and then they're taking off on the lam, and it's all about their adventures, but it's also the police chasing them at the same time. And it's very interesting film, and I can't believe they were just going to go direct to video with it.
Right.
And but it had gotten enough high praise and everything that they were convinced to actually release it into the theater. And it's a good thing they did. I think it holds up really well over the course of time. I hadn't seen it since the early 90s myself, and I really liked it, wanted to include it in my top 10. So number 7, I've got Dracula, Francis Ford Coppola's version of it. Gary Oldman does a fantastic job playing, Dracula. And you got a very young Winona Ryder, very young Keanu Reeves also in the film. Very close adaptation of the novel, Bram Stoker's novel. I think it's really it's very artfully done. Got that, that little bit of flavor to it that I think is great. It didn't come off so much as a horror movie as much as it was a sincere drama movie and a love story. And I think that's what really made his version of it work. And that kind of sticks with me a little bit. Number 6, I have Glengarry, Glen Ross, based on the play. I think maybe for what it is, the acting is just absolutely superb in it. Everybody in there, Alec Baldwin's little brass ball speech that he gives to everybody is great. Arkin's great in it. Pacino's awesome in it. Jack Lemmon, just everybody is really great in this. And it's one of those movies that you have to see. It's about all these salesmen who are all competing. They're all kind of in a slump right now, except for I think Al Pacino's character. And they're all like given this ultimatum, like either you pick up your sales, and if you're number 1, you get a car. And if you're number 2, you get a set of steak knives, and everybody else is fired. And that's your incentive right there.
That.
And it's about the lengths that you'll go to try to get good leads in order to get good sales in the cutthroat environment that is real estate sales anyway. So breaking into this is the top 5 was just like, oh my God. I knew who was in the top 5. It just took me forever to rank these.
Right.
Number 5, I put A River Runs Through It here, directed by Robert Redford. I love the novel by Norman MacLean. Some of the quotes that I'll actually take from the movie is one where his father is speaking in the church, and he said, it's often those we live with and should know who elude us. He said, but we can still love them. We can love them completely without completely understanding. And maybe sums up the entire movie. And when you think about the trials and tribulations that the family goes through, Brad Pitt is the adventurous brother who wants to, womanize and gamble and break all the rules, and his other brother is a straight-laced writer who always wants to just, prove to his father that he can be everything that his father wants him to be. Yeah. And, just one day, tragedy strikes Brad Pitt's character, and the impact that it has on the family is quite devastating. So, but Robert Redford is the ultimate Americana. I like to think, I call it Americana or American mythos type of director. He really does a great job of telling those types of stories, and I loved it. So number 4, I have Malcolm X, a role that I think, Denzel should have won an Oscar for long before you would have given it to him for Training Day or anything like that. So a powerful retelling of his biography. I think he's one of those characters. I think Denzel said that once he was all done filming it, he still took about a very, very long time to let the character go. He was still always in that Malcolm X character as he was walking around. And I can imagine so. It was quite a method acting that he had to do in order to portray. And I think he did a bang up job in it. The film's a little lengthy, but it's still something you can go back and watch. And I don't think it would hurt you too bad to, spend a little extra time. So the top 3 here, guys, are all bangers. I've got A Few Good Men at number 3, all-star cast. You got Tom Cruise, who definitely holds his own up again, playing up against Jack Nicholson's character. You got Kevin Pollock, right? It's Kevin Pollock, right?
Kevin Pollock.
And and then you got Kevin Spacey's in it. Just like I said, just the cast is just incredible when you think about it. You step back, JT Walsh, I believe, plays one of the colonels in it as well.
Yeah.
I think he's a great character actor. We lost him way too soon, as a matter of fact. But just the courtroom drama that's recreated there. Reiner does a great job with kind of managing all the personalities that are in that film and getting the best out of everybody and making it all mesh really well. If it wasn't for the fact that it was up against these other two movies, this could have very easily been a #1 film in any other year that we have covered. And it's just one of those things. Here's where I wrestled with it for a long time, guys. At #2, I put Reservoir Dogs here. Easily could have been a #1 for me, and probably going to be #1 for you, maybe you guys. It's just who it's up against. It's nothing against the movie. The movie is absolutely fantastic, highly quotable movie. Maybe the most infamous scene in the entire movie, of course, is the watch your head scene, the the ear scene with Mr. Brown doing his little dance, stuck in the middle with you. I mean, that's that song has a whole new meaning once you watch it alongside this. But Tim Roth were really at the beginning of his career here as far as taking a major step in a movie. And I think in an interview he said that while they were filming it, he said Harvey Keitel looked at him a couple times and said, he goes, "What do you think of this?" And Tim's like, "I think this is going to be special." And Harvey Keitel looked right at him and goes, "This movie is special."
Yeah.
I mean, they could tell while they were filming it that they were into something really good.
Yeah.
And it really set the tone for Tarantino and how he was going to approach filmmaking and the kind of respect that he got as a director. And everybody tried to, emulate Quentin going forward after he made this movie and Pulp Fiction later on.
Yep.
So worst film.
Worst.
This one was easy, man. As soon as I looked at the movies and I go, yeah, this is it right here. I've got Stop or My Mom Will Shoot with Sylvester Stallone. How pathetic had Sly really come? I mean, think of how far this guy had fallen, that he actually had to star alongside an old lady, and play second fiddle to her in the movie. The movie's horrible, guys.
Horrible.
I mean, come on. It's like taking a buddy cop movie and mixing it with a guy who has mommy issues and saying, "Oh yeah, we're going to make a movie based on that." And it's terrible. Don't see it. Don't waste your time. Probably the only reason I watched it is I was working at a video store at the time, part-time, and you get to see free movies every week, so you just grab a stack of them and you go with it, and it's terrible. But #1 for me, I've got The Unforgiven. It just Westerns resonate with me just a little bit more. This is really maybe Clint's magnum opus as far as Westerns go. I like the arc of the character and how it's apparent in how his mannerisms little by little change. And then the pinnacle of those changes in the arc is when he finds out that his friend Ned is dead. And all of a sudden, everything about him changes. He's grabbing whiskey out of the kid's hands. He's chugging whiskey. He's cussing. He's, and then he's asking for the kid's weapon. Everything just kind of flips on its head about the character. And so you realize that, bad men really always will have that bad men inside them. And all it takes is like that one little thing to pull that back out again. And then that's what you're stuck with again. Yeah. I think everybody knows that anybody who's seen the movie knows the bar scene when he comes in there and asks, who owns this shithole? And, when the guy finally speaks up, he, plugs a big ass hole in him. I mean, that's maybe one of the most infamous scenes in Western history. And I think this is Clint at the top of his game. So I put it at #1.
It's a great list, Brian.
Yeah, I have.
Love
Let me think here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I have 7.
Wow.
Get
7
out.
out of 10. Yeah, 7 out of 10.
Holy mackerel.
that is
You know what-
surprising.
You know what that tells me? Tells me we might have been off on our trifectas.
Maybe. Seven's my
Maybe.
lucky number tonight. I had 7.
Yeah, that's
on
right.
music and 7
Yeah,
on the,
you and Doc were matching up pretty well in
Yeah.
music.
But yeah, some
Yeah.
heavy hitters. He's the top. Bryce, I think your top 5, top 6 is really strong. Honestly.
Yeah. I think I only have one maybe different than you in that top 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Wow.
Something like that.
All right. What do you got, Doc? Let's hear your rundown.
Listen, is it okay if I pick like 8 movies at number 10? Can I do something? No, no.
Yeah,
None
just
of
go
that
ahead.
shit. No,
Start
that's
listing
out.
them off. Stop your mom to shoot there. No?
So my number 10, man, I'm not gonna lie, I struggled with this huge, my list. I said I'm happy with my 10 or whatever, and I could be happy watching any of these movies.
Yeah.
So my number 10 is Thunderheart. Okay, that's what I'm gonna come in with, number 10.
Wow.
Good one.
Yeah, this is Val Kilmer, Sam Shepard here. This is a great story about a murder that happens on Indian reservation land, and who used to take over the investigation and stuff. And it's a lot of backstabbing. It's a great story that goes with it. There's a lot of meaning behind this movie when you get down to it, especially for the setting that it's placed in. Thunderheart's a really good movie, man. My kind of movie is what I would say. So it makes my list for that. I'm not lying. I had like 6 or 7 of the contenders here for number 10, and it was tough just to leave.
Yeah,
a whole bunch of honorable mentions off. So, but whatever the case,
we'll go over them at the end and just give them some.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
Well, that'll take 20 minutes, but yeah. Number 9 is the same as Brian's number 9. I got The Last of the Mohicans in here too, buddy.
Nice.
Yeah, this is the colonists and the French, and the infighting wars. You got 4 people or 4 different sects really having different vibes, and how Daniel Day-Lewis's character here, like he said, Hawkeye's character is just he's the glue through the whole movie and stuff like that, but he's almost wavering almost between all four segments of what's going on in the war and what's happening here during this time in the 1700s and the war. So I think we all like our Michael Mann movies to one degree or another, and this is this is one of Michael's shorter movies, and I'm glad it is for that almost one reason, because he's got a lot of story, a lot of detail, and visually he's crafting himself to be a pretty solid director here at this stage too, and it shows in this movie. It's really well shot, I think, too.
Yeah.
My number 8 is the same as Brian's number 8. I also have One False Move.
Wow.
So
Wow. Interesting.
yeah. Oh, this is a great cops, bad guys, drug killing. The doc flick, man. This is it's been in a sweet spot for a long time for me. So
Yeah.
You guys were bantering this one out in passing during a couple of our conversations. I just kept quiet, thinking, oh, well, I guess, well, if it lands, then all 3 of us are going to probably have this one when it gets there. So, but outside of everything Brian touched on in the movie, because that's it, then Brian covered it pretty good there. Michael Beach is really good in this movie, as well as the
right,
one of the bad guys. Great little twists and turns inside of it and stuff like this, and how the story arc is pretty solid, man, especially when it's switch and she wants to go back home and stuff like that. I think it's a good idea. It's Bill Paxton's the glue in this movie, man, if you get right down to it, to me as well. So
Excellent.
Yeah. Number 7, I got Bad Lieutenant in at number 7, man.
Yeah.
I almost went there. Yeah.
For me, it was hard not to go there. It's
like,
I mean, what a disturbing story. Messed up cop, New York cop, drugs, and everything here, man. This guy's like sleeping around, he's drugs, he's gambling. This guy's got serious problems. And once again, my kind of flick, man. This is not everybody's kind of movie, I'll tell you this right now. In some senses, it's pretty disturbing, especially some scenes. Harvey's fantastic in it. Harvey had a pretty good year in '92, man. That's my take. So, Bad Lieutenant, man. I don't know how to describe the flick, man. It's just odd, quirky, very disturbing in some senses, but really well shot, really well acted. And subject matter aside, it's really good film, is what I would say. How we do the numbers, I guess now, Brian, comes down to it, right? So I got A Few Good Men coming in at number 6 here for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is a placement thing. You know, I love all these movies. This is the most solid year I think we've done, and we talked about it. And I got Last of the Mohicans at number 9 for crying out loud. So what's that tell you? Few Good Men, man. Yeah, it's the all-star cast. It's a great story. Jack and Tom Cruise play off each other very well in this movie. And the list of Kevins goes on, because I think we missed Kevin Bacon on that last go there. So
Yep.
there's
Yeah.
a cast of lots in this movie that are very good and very pertinent to the whole story as well. You know, Demi Moore is in it, and a great, criminal court investigation kind of thing. What's going on with Cuba and stuff like this. And if you haven't seen the movie, you should check it out, because it's really good and really well acted. I think it's a Reiner movie too, isn't it? Rob Reiner did this.
Rob Reiner.
A Few Good Men, man. It's a classic. I actually saw that, and then I saw Hoffa right after it on the same night it came out.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah. But unfortunately, Hoffa did not make my list. So
Oh, well.
No.
number 5, Malcolm X, man. What can you do? So, yeah, maybe a little long in the tooth as far as like a long, for a movie to watch. If you've never seen it, you have to watch it. This is historically pretty darn accurate as far as I can tell. And I think it's a great storytelling. There's something very pertinent to American history. And I'm a Canadian, and it means a lot to me to watch these kind of things. So Malcolm X is a great story. And
Yeah.
what a life. It's because it's told over a long period of time too. Spike Lee, man, plopping out some good stuff here, man. This is
serious.
The serious high end sets are awesome. Everyone's costumes and the decor and everything that goes with it. I get into these kind of things, man. This is high end, that kind of movie. It might not even look like it is, but it's seriously a high end movie making, man. So, and the acting's fantastic, man. Denzel, yeah. We can talk about him. We can talk maybe a couple other people, but definitely wouldn't have been upset if he won for this one either. My number 4 is more of like a personal favorite for me, because I love the movie. I love the satire behind it. I love everything else that goes with it. But I got The Player coming in at number 4. I love this movie. It's a great flick. It's a total satire look, tongue in cheek almost, and a great story behind it that happens in Hollywood. I can't remember who made the movie now, but Altman, yeah, it's an Altman flick. Kind of a bounce back flick, I think, for him too.
Oh, it was.
Yeah, I think it was. It's shot incredibly when you get right down to it. And this literally does have a cast of thousands. So everybody in Hollywood is in this movie, because Tim Robbins plays the movie agent that makes the decisions on what the studio's going to put out. And everyone's coming to him with pitches, and someone's not getting back to him on one of their pitches. And then it kind of goes astray halfway through the movie on what may or may not have happened and how it comes out at the end, the twists and the turns inside the movie. Really well crafted, really well written. My kind of flick, man. Again, The Player. If you haven't seen it, it's an underrated movie, and I think it deserves top 10 billing in 92 in my take, and I got it pretty high on my list. Number 3 is Glengarry Glen Ross for me. I think Brian covered it, man. Jack Lemmon, Alec Baldwin, Kevin Spacey, Ed Harris, Al Pacino. All right, that's the top 3 movie of 92 for me, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
Script heavy, setting deficient. It's 2-3 scenes, man. It's there's not a lot of action going on. This is just a script heavy, well written movie. Superior acting, man. This is we talked about it before. This is top notch, man. It does not get any better in a movie than it does in this movie. This is, show this to everybody if you want to get into acting. This is how you act. Lemon. I mean, the scenes when they all get it, they all just take over their scenes when they start having their lines. It's incredible. I can't stress how this could have been even higher, man. I love this freaking movie. And yeah, the selling of the real estate and everything else, and the competition. Yeah, it's a classic, if you want my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, to Brian's point, man. I struggled. Here we go, man. So this might not shock anybody as we get down to our final two and stuff like that. But yeah, so I got Unforgiven at number 2. Once again, Brian's covered it off pretty good. You've heard me talk about it anyway. You know, Gene Hackman's in the flick. And I get Clint. Frig. This is a no-brainer. Gene Hackman as Little Bill in this is, you know, gives me those Denzel Washington Training Day vibes, man, because I hate that bastard too.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Fantastic acting, man. Again, this is what we're getting here. So it's great storytelling, and I think a classic Western movie that we haven't seen in a long time that shows up here in 92 that gives the Western genre some hope and stuff like this for whatever it is. This is a fantastic movie. They got a lot of accolades, rightfully so. All right, so my worst, and as I said, you know, Brian, you know, I thought we had 7 the same, but I lied because we have 8 the same. Stop or My Mum Will Shoot is also my worst of the year. So, not like I, you know, everything that Brian said is, you know, Stallone's going, you know, turbo down here, man. I don't know what to say. So, because I had him last year with Oscar, so this is a back-to-back for me. Looks like my leading candidates for the worst actors showing up in my worst movies are Lou Gossett Jr. and Stallone.
Yeah.
So, Stop or My Mum Will Shoot.
Nice.
I don't know. Crap. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Don't watch it. Heed Brian's words. Save yourself your hour and change on life. So I had number 2 at Forgiven, my worst there. So my number 1 is Reservoir Dogs. So I gotta drop that in there, man. It's we all like our Quentin. Probably my favorite Quentin. Obviously, it's a script-driven movie, and you get that the first 10 minutes of the movie that you're sitting down, and those guys are just having lunch or something like that, talking about, you know, whatever songs and music and the meanings and what I mean. It's all over in one sense, the conversations and stuff, but you get a real handle on who these guys' characters are in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's all just script and circle. It's really well filmed. It's really top notch, man. Quentin does a great job showing you the movie, showing you the characters. And his scripts are always second to none. And this shows everybody wears black and white. Everybody, they've all got names. They're all colors. And Robbery Gone Wrong.
Right.
Famous scene that Brian touched on. Reservoir Dogs is top notch movie for me, man. The best of 92 in my eyes.
Yeah, it's, I mean, what I like too is like Tarantino is very particular about his dialogue. So you don't get to ad lib. He'll tell you, do it just like I wrote it on the script. Don't go off on any tangent or any of that. He said, I wrote it exactly how I wanted it to be said. And that's how he was.
And that's what it is.
That's what it is. And the other thing I forgot to mention about the Unforgiven is Little Bill, like you were touching on. You know, you get the sense that he's supposed to be the savior of his town, but you also get the sense that he's a terrible savior because his house is crooked. So that means he's a terrible carpenter.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So
I think that's in the movie.
The analogy there is, he's a shitty carpenter, so he's a shitty savior for his town. He's terrible.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Unforgiven. Yeah, classic, obviously.
Yeah.
So
Very good. I think again, 7. I'm not saying 7 trifectas. I'm saying we had 7 the same. They may be different than Brian's 7 the same with me, but we'll see. Let's see what we got.
Okay.
3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. My number 10. Starting it off. I got One False Move in the 10 spot. I just watched it 2 nights ago to make sure because it was on the bubble with a couple others. But it is a good crime thriller, kind of low budget at the time. And like Brian said, it was going straight to video. Siskel and Ebert got behind this film on their show, and they really saved it. All of a sudden, it was in theaters. People were going to see it. Co-written by Billy Bob Thornton, Carl Franklin, the director. There's some real tense scenes in here, especially in the beginning with them tying up the people and murdering them. It's tough to watch. Very up in your face, kind of with the knife and the gunshots, and some brutal, violent criminals on the loose here. Bill Paxton's the local police chief, ties the movie together. I think it's got some interesting plot twists with him and Lucinda Williams' character, and there's just so many cool little twists and turns in it that I really like. So I'm going to put it in my number 10 spot. My number 9 is one that I have that you guys don't. I just think it's a sleazy kind of movie. It's Basic Instinct. I really like this movie a lot. I know it's gotten ripped for the Sharon Stone scene in the chair and the guys oogling and that stuff, but it works in the context of this movie. It's kind of a neo-noir with Michael Douglas getting in too deep with the number one murder suspect, and they have an affair. It's a very erotic thriller. And he's trying to tie her together. She's written books about different murders, and they come out similar to the case that he's working on. The interrogation scene with Wayne Knight's there, and he's practically drooling and just sweating, and they're watching Sharon, but she does the leg thing. And it is sleazy. I'm not going to say it's not, but her in that white dress, they work for me. So I'm going to put that at number 9. Number 8 is our first trifecta, Glengarry, Glen Ross. You guys covered it. It's shot like a stage play. There's very little, change of venue. It's shot in that the workplace. It's cutthroat salesmen, trying to avoid that steak knives or the firing. They're going for the big prize. Great dialogue written by David Mamet, and the cast. Like you said, I have to mention them again: Lemon, Pacino, Alec Baldwin, Ed Harris, Alan Arkin, and Kevin Spacey. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. And they play off each other really well. It's very realistic in the dialogue. It's intense, and it's a class in acting for sure. My number 7 is another one nobody had, Of Mice and Men, the remake with John Malkovich and Gary Sinise. I think this is a wonderful remake of the original film from way back when, of the John Steinbeck novel. It's directed by Gary Sinise as well. He directs and stars in it, opposite Malkovich, playing Lenny and George, set in the Great Depression. Kind of a sad story, a tragic story, but it's well told. Captures that era of them working in the fields and on the farms and trying to scrape together a few bucks here and there. And, Gary Sinise is basically Malkovich's caretaker, and he has to do what's best for him in the end. Number 6, another trifecta. River Runs Through. No, it's not it. River Runs Through.
Nope.
Brian and I had that. Sorry. That's one I'm off on. Directed by Robert Redford. This is like a piece of Americana. Montana, wide open spaces, the fly fishing that they're doing, a story of fathers and sons with the 2 brothers, total opposites. One's by the book and wants to be in his dad's image. The other one's a wild man out doing growing, coming of age. Like Brian said, he's a gambler, he's a ladies' man, this and that. Great story. I love the scenery in it with the mountains and the streams, and everything's beautiful about it. It's well shot, well told. It's just a pleasant movie to watch. So that's my number 6. Number 5, here's another one that just Doc and I had. Brian didn't have this. The Player, Robert Altman. I have The Player at number 5. Tim Robbins as the Hollywood executive. It's a look at the ins and outs of the Hollywood industry. Satire, like Doc said. A different kind of film where the camera's following this guy around, and you're seeing little meetings take place, for lunch, and you got celebrities there like Whoopi Goldberg and whoever, and they're hobnobbing, and at the same time there's a murder investigation. Fred Ward is one of the cops, I believe, and he's trying to determine.
He is security.
Yeah, he's trying to determine. Yeah. Who killed this guy and how it all went down at a bar. I think it was even on the set somewhere. It was close by. I don't know. it demands multiple views, because if you watch this one time, you're going to miss a lot. There's a lot of little nuances and stuff in the film. I like the Greta Scacchi character too, as
Yep.
the girlfriend here. She's an actress that, she had her moment, but you don't hear much about her anymore. She's quite good in this. She was in what was the movie with Harrison Ford? Presumed Innocent.
Presumed Innocent.
Yeah, she was in that as well. But I like the player. Robert Altman has his own style with overlapping dialogue and all kinds of things to watch. It wants the camera movement. It's very kind of special movie. My number 4 is Malcolm X. I believe that's a trifecta here.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Spike Lee's masterpiece with Denzel in the lead, doing a tremendous job. I don't know how he didn't get the Oscar. They gave it to Al Pacino for Son of a Woman, which was wrong. Al Pacino should have won a million times over, but not for Son of a Woman. This was Malkovich's Oscar to win. And it's kind of a balanced telling of this complicated man. It's giving the philosophy that he has is different from Martin Luther King. Great performance. Spike Lee, you can love him, you can hate him, but the guy makes great movies. I mean, he was on a roll here with Do the Right Thing. And I had, what was the other movie I had on my list? Because last year,
Jungle Fever.
Jungle Fever.
Jungle Fever.
He also did Mo Better Blues, which is a good film. He's going to have the film with Ed Norton
Get on
later.
the Bus, which I thought was kind of an underrated film.
I like Get on the Bus. Get on the Bus is a well-made movie and very subject oriented for that time. The Million, that was a Million Man March or whatever. It was perfect.
Yep.
That's right.
And, they literally shot on the fly. They went on the bus to DC and made a movie out of it. And that's not easy to do, but he did it. And of course, 25th Hour with Ed Norton and
that's my second favorite.
Hoffman. That's an all-time classic for me as well. So yeah, Malcolm X makes the list at number 4. Number 3 is going to be Unforgiven with Clint Eastwood and Gene Hackman and Morgan Freeman and Richard Harris. This is another star-studded cast. This movie was a budget of $14 million and grossed $159 million. So this, and won the Oscar.
It's a moneymaker.
It's just a huge moneymaker. Great cast, old school Western. I mean, it's mean, it's ruthless. Clint's character does change a lot. He's carrying a lot of guilt for the things he's done from his past. And yet you don't want to piss him off because he's going to shoot you right in the face and in front of everybody just to intimidate the whole town. He does what he has to do. There's a lot of cold-blooded killing here. And it's surviving as a gunfighter in the old West. And there were guys that did. That's what they did. That was a way of life.
Right.
It's well depicted. I can't say enough good things about it. I just happen to like 2 movies a little better. Number 2 is A Few Good Men. I'm a little bit higher on this than you guys are, but we all have it on the list, so it's a trifecta. Yeah. I love the dynamic between Cruise and Nicholson. You Can't Handle the Truth, and he goes toe to toe with them. And Jack is, he's got that mean look on his face, like, who's this kid fucking with me? But it's just great. You mentioned Kevin Bacon, Kevin Pollak, Kiefer Sutherland, Demi Moore's in this as well. Real good
Kiefer
cast.
Sutherland.
Yeah, Kiefer.
I love Kiefer Sutherland's character in that.
Yeah.
He's just great. He's like, may I call you John? He goes, no, sir, you may not.
That's right.
I was like, that's great.
Yeah, so this is a great one. The fireworks between Nicholson and Cruise, everything builds up to that. And that story about, is it a murder or is it Marines following orders with that code they live by and this and that? That's the whole gist of the story. So it lands at number 2. My worst movie, I admire your pick because it's hard to top that one. But I went with Encino Man.
Jesus.
Sean Astin, Brendan Fraser, and Pauly Shore. I mean, anything that's got Pauly Shore in it is an instant candidate for me.
I was going to say, Pauly Shore put it over the top, man.
That gave it the edge for me. And basically the plot is a frozen caveman shows up on the back lawn of these slacker geeks. And they're, it's just goofy nonsense. Pauly Shore's just dreadful. Yeah. How he makes a dime in Hollywood is beyond me.
I think he told a story one time where his next door neighbor is Wes Carpenter. And he asked Wes Carpenter what's the scariest movie you ever saw. And Wes told him that it was In the Army Now.
his movie.
That's a good line. Yeah, Pauly Shore's a joke. I mean, the three of
Wes
us have a
Craven.
better.
I'm sorry, Wes Craven. Yeah,
Wes Craven. The three of us have a better shot of reading a script and getting through it than Pauly Shore. He's just a buffoon. My number one are Dogs, no doubt about it. My favorite movie, one of my favorite movies of all time, let alone '92. I think it's my favorite Quentin movie. I think Pulp Fiction may be a better movie, a better constructed movie, but Reservoir Dogs, man, the dialogue in this movie and those individual characters, it's very funny. It's very violent. You know, you can go through Steve Buscemi's great in this movie. You know, Chris Penn is nice guy. Eddie's fantastic in this movie. Tim Roth steals the movie. Michael Madsen, pure evil.
Yeah.
Harvey Keitel, and of course Lawrence Tierney is Joe. That guy that looks like the Thing almost in the face. He's just a
my way of the highway, Mr. Pink.
Put $1 in here, you cheap bastard.
That's right. Oh, fuck, I
You're gonna put $1 in.
You know, I don't care whether you tip or not. You're going to throw a goddamn dollar in there.
Pay for your lunch.
And then when he wants to change his name from Mr. Pink to something, you know, he doesn't go for that either.
Does he be Mr. Pink?
Yeah, I drew this out a long time ago. You're Mr. Pink. You're Mr. Orange. You're going to live with it. You know, he's like, and then you know,
You're not Mr. Pink. You can say what you want.
In the flashback scenes where Michael Madsen and Chris Penn are wrestling around on the floor, and
Totally, like they're big brothers or something.
Yeah, they just got out. He got out of the slammer. They haven't seen him in 7 years, and all of a sudden they're calling each other all kinds of nasty words and wrestling around in the office.
Did you see that, Dad? He tried to have me.
Right.
Right there. Did you see that?
He's been taking it up the ass in jail, and now he's going to do it to me. It's like, come on, Daddy. I don't think I don't like what he's doing, Daddy. He's like,
Chris Penn's hilarious in that movie.
So it's very funny. It's basically a heist movie gone wrong. I mean, these guys screw it up.
Yep.
And they have a meeting place where they all go back, and it's just insane, but it works beautifully. From the first time I saw it, I thought it was an instant classic, and I watch it every time it's on. It's just an amazing film.
Yeah.
And you know, you're trying to figure out who the rat is, the informant. We're not going to give it away here, but that's part of it too. The first time is cool because you don't know, and you know, the things they do to that poor cop with the gasoline and the ear, and you know, Michael Madsen's talking to the ear, he throws at the corner.
Yeah. There's all sorts of cool imagery in that too. Is if you pay attention to like the colored jugs that are on the shelves in the bathroom.
Yeah.
They show you like where the characters are. Like it shows you that, you know, Mr. Orange is separate from the Mr. White and Mr. I mean, it's really interesting.
Yes.
Man, Tarantino doesn't let shit go. No. I mean, everything matters to him. Everything matters. So
yeah, it's just top notch. So I think we had 6 or 5. How many trifectas? We have One False Move, A Few Good Men, Malcolm X, Glengarry, Unforgiven, Reservoir. That's 6. Bad Lieutenant was close to making my list, just missed out. It probably would have if I hadn't watched One False Move again. I watched it last week, and that took the number 10 spot.
Yeah.
What are your guys, Doc? You had a bunch that you almost went with.
Oh, there's quite a few, and some were mentioned there, right? So for acting and stuff like this, I said at the beginning before, it was really a heavy acting year. To be honest with you, I wouldn't have been upset if one of Brian's picks, the actor Gary Oldman, won Best Actor for Dracula.
He did an exceptional job.
He was fantastic. I love his portrayal, and him in the whole movie is awesome. There's some parts that I just, you know, whatever. Yeah. It's just a short list, man. You know, if I had, I don't know, next week it could be in my top 10. That's that kind of movie for me.
Right.
So Bob Roberts was one that I like a lot.
I like
too.
Bob Roberts.
Great political satire.
That's right.
It's good.
What year did the Hudsucker Proxy come out?
94, I think.
94 or 5? Maybe 4.
I think it was 4, but I could be wrong. Nobody had a league of their own baseball.
No.
And I
was not going to cut it.
And I thought Doc might have Patriot Games because you like a lot of the Harrison Ford flicks.
You know, I like Patriot Games. You know, if you want the truth, I really like Under Siege.
Oh yeah,
I think Under Siege is a good movie.
it
And it's
is.
Steven Seagal and stuff, but it's got Tommy Lee Jones and it's
Yeah,
it's Die Hard on a boat. I get what the hell it is, but it's still a guy flick and shit like
I
that.
thought it was
That's
a good
cool.
movie. Yep.
And I like the movie Sneakers. If you want the truth, I think that's I like that
One-
just as a sneakers.
Oh yeah, that's very good. Robert Redford and
Yeah,
Sidney
Ben
Poitier.
Kingsley.
Sydney,
Yeah, that's good. That was a good cast.
Yeah,
Really
Ben
good cast.
Kingsley.
And what else was in here? Hoffa, you mentioned, didn't have that. Single white female for the ladies out there. No, we didn't have that. There weren't a lot of comedies.
You know, my cousin Vinny came out that year.
My Cousin Vinny, speaking of comedies there, and White Men Can't Jump, that came out too.
Wayne's World came out that year.
Wayne's World, yep.
Yeah,
So
they're just not top teners, man. That's all.
No, they're not breaking into this top 10. There's no way.
And look at the list that we all have. We've all got better top tens anyway than the numbers.
and there were
just didn't make it.
three nominated films that nobody went with. Howard's End, which is one of them hoity-toity British films. Son of a Woman didn't get in.
That's also a pretty good movie, man. But it's basically Pacino driven, right?
It is. And The Crying Game is another one that didn't get in.
The Crying Game was like, I didn't mind, Stephen Ray or Forrest Whitaker's performances, but there's something about the premise of the movie I just couldn't.
That's the same with me.
I can't go back to it.
No,
No need.
I saw
in
it
the
once,
theater.
and that was it.
Yeah, I saw it in the theater too.
I did too. Yeah.
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
That was one that was word of mouth. You have to see it. Everybody went. So what?
yeah.
Yeah, that's I don't need to see it again. I can tell you that.
But a lot of people.
Even Chaplin came out that year too.
He's great in Chaplin. Downey. Really good.
Yeah, he is. Robert Downey Jr. is good in that one.
He's better than the movie. Put it that way.
He's better. He's way better than the movie.
Yeah.
If you want the truth. Yeah.
Very good. So that's going to wrap it up. We covered 1992, a really strong year, as you can see by the 6 trifectas. If you haven't seen any of those 6 that we all had, definitely check those out. They're all strong and recommended from the 3 of us.
Fantastic.
Don't go see Stop or My Mom Will Kill or Encino.
Don't see the movie Stop or the Encino Man Will Shoot.
All right, cool. So we'll be back next up, 1993. Be sure to check out Brian's channel, Massey's Maine Entertainment. The link will be in the description below. And go check out the music for 92, as well as our other music videos from 65 on. And same with my channel with the movies. We're doing from 1980 through 1999. So we're closing in. We got 7 more to go. And this series will be over. And then we'll figure out what we're going to do next. So for Doc and Brian, this is Rich. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching and leave some comments, please. Take care.